Hey everyone, welcome back to another amazing episode of Power Street Spotlight. And today we have the lovely, the beautiful Areej Shafique. Woo! Hey!
Hi, super nice to meet you.
Same here, same here. I wish it was in person, but slowly but surely the day may come.
Totally.
So before we get things started, I wanted to ask if you could just introduce yourself. What are your pronouns and what do you do?
Sure. My name is Areej Shafique. I use she, her pronouns. I'm an aspiring actress, shrouded with imposter syndrome, living in the Philadelphia area. Um, and I think I answered all of your questions there, but let me know if I missed one.
No, you're good. Welcome. Um, I also wanted to ask, well, I like to do a icebreaker.
Okay.
But this one's an easy one. What's something that brought you a bunch of joy today or just made you smile really big or laugh? Anything?
I met with one of my high school friends from like she was like my first friend when I moved to America. At like the age of 13, so she was my freshman year of high school friend.
Mhm.
And she's like moving to Florida now, which is like super sad. But it
Yeah.
was just like nice to see her, and we like plan on like spending the like a lot of like summertime together now that like people are getting vaccinated.
Yeah.
And so that was just something that was like a nice thing to do just because I haven't seen her in so long.
Yeah. It's funny. One of my best friends also lives in Florida, and I'm like, why are you so far?
I
What?
know. I hate it when people like move to different states. Like I'm like, I'm happy for you, but could you
Right.
also be like near?
You're right. If only just please me. That's all I'm asking.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
simple. So I wanted to ask also, what is your origin story with theater? How did you come into this world? What inspired you to get into this world and continue?
Sure. So like I said, I moved here my freshman year of high school. And I moved at a time where I was so young in Pakistan because I was like 12 when I moved to America. And so there wasn't like at that time, there wasn't a lot of theater happening in Pakistan, or I was just not aware of it because I was so young.
Mhm.
And just like in school, like theater classes or performance wasn't really a thing that you took as an extracurricular.
Yeah,
And then I moved here and I got the opportunity to take like actor studio as like a class. And I was like, what? I get to be graded on like
yeah.
acting? That's crazy. And so like from that class, like I auditioned for shows, like landed like my first big role, and I was like this is so cool. And I just love like the community aspect of it too, just being like an immigrant and like moving to a fresh like new school, where like people already knew each other from middle school, so like they already had their friend groups.
Mhm.
But like joining theater was just like a nice way to like build a community.
Yeah.
um, and then after I was done high school and I was applying to colleges, I it never crossed my mind to do like acting as a major because I always thought of it as a hobby, because you're like ingrained from a young age where you're just like,
Yeah.
no, like choose it as like my parents were completely supportive of doing it as a hobby. Like they've never been like, no, don't do theater, like this is wrong. But like it
Mhm.
was just like, but don't do it as your full-time job.
Yep.
Um, right.
Mhm.
So I was a marketing major in college, and when I chose the major, I was like, okay, well, I guess that's the end of like my theater journey.
Yeah.
But thankfully, I went to Rutgers Camden, where they have it's not like you have to be a theater major in order to take theater classes or audition for their shows, which
Oh.
is awesome.
Mhm.
So I took a bunch of theater classes and I auditioned for like the smaller like productions that would happen, just because like having a like business major sometimes like conflicts with like rehearsal schedules.
Yeah.
So I would like do the smaller shows, and then it wasn't until my senior year of college where I got to go to Cuba, like for like a conference and do like a stage reading in Cuba. And it
I
was like super
love
cool that I got the
it.
opportunity to do that. And there was just like a slight like moment there where I was like, okay, maybe I can do this like as
Yeah, yeah.
potentially a career. And then I graduated college and COVID happened. And COVID hit and I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, this is a sign from the universe that maybe I shouldn't be doing it, I guess.
Mhm.
And then I was working my 9 to 5 like job one day, and I got like an email from like a college professor who owns like Philadelphia Artist Collective. And he was like,
Okay.
hey, like we had like someone drop out. Do you want to fill in for this role? And I was like, yes, like totally,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do. And so like from there, it's just been like these opportunities, like it just keeps coming back to me like in my life in like wonderful and like unexpected ways, which I'm like very, very grateful for.
Mhm.
So now I'm just like in the process of uh building the confidence to say that I am an actress, and like getting rid of the imposter syndrome, and then like
Mhm.
hoping one day that I'll be able to like introduce myself and be like, hi, nice to meet you, I'm an actress. And
Mhm.
then eventually growing the balls to quit my 9 to 5 and and do
Yeah, yeah.
it full time. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's
Yeah.
my long journey.
No, that's beautiful, and I think that's exactly what you're going through. I think that's like almost every artist. So just like conflicting of like what society tells us, like we have to do that 9 to 5 job because that's quote unquote secure.
Yeah,
And we all learned from this past year, there's no such thing as a secure job.
totally.
So yeah, no, I feel that, and I'm like, I'm, I understand where you're at, like that 9 to 5 job, and like I don't want you. You're in my way.
Yeah,
I want to do other things that make me happy. Like I know
exactly.
exactly how you feel. Oh man, I can't
I
wait to
know.
leave. But I'm also like, this is scary. This is very
I
scary.
know. Well, like the one like nice thing to come out of COVID, which is like such a funny thing to say because
Mhm.
COVID is like such a tragic
Yeah.
event that's happening in our lives right now. But the nice thing is that it's told you like if there is something that you want to do, don't hold it off. Like don't set a
Mhm.
timeline where you're like,
Yeah.
okay, like this is something that I really love and I want to do it like 4 years down the line. But you don't know what's gonna happen 4 years down the line. Like life is
Yeah.
so unexpected, as
Yeah.
like COVID has taught us.
Mhm.
So I'm like just trying to, conflicting emotions and like trying to navigate that.
Yeah.
So glad to hear that like you and like other artists also feel the same way because it's nice
Mhm.
to have other people in the same boat as you.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's many of us on this ship right now.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we're about to get ready to watch your beautiful monologue. If you don't mind, just introducing it, just so everyone's prepared and know what they're going to see.
Yeah, sure. So it's kind of like a monologue that I did for quote unquote shits and giggles. Because I feel while I was like searching for a monologue for this like artist spotlight in general, I realized like how little South Asian representation there is in Hollywood, which is
Mhm.
not a shocker, really. But what I realized was that if there is a South Asian actress in Hollywood, they're primarily being used as like, the token brown person to fill like the brown quota in a cast,
Yeah, yeah.
or they're being used for their like trauma in a way, like tell me your sob story so that we can turn it into this big like blockbuster movie like kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And then like the comedies are mostly focused around like South Asian stereotypes, which are like, like
Mhm.
my parents wanted me to be a doctor, or like being an immigrant in the US, or like
Yeah.
just or like people can't pronounce my name correctly, which are like funny things and they do happen and they are relatable. But I wanted to do something that was like beyond that. Like I just
Yeah.
like I feel like we're funnier than that. And
Yeah.
there's so much like I want a production in Hollywood that isn't based off of these stereotypes or isn't calling on
Mhm.
like these like pieces of trauma or like or isn't centered around my brownness. Like I can
Yeah.
be like I can be like Gone Girl, like give me a South Asian Gone Girl, or like
Yes.
just like something like funnier than. So this monologue is basically positioned as a South Asian actress auditioning for a white director in Hollywood, for their token brown girl position. And they've like this director has asked them to like record a monologue in Urdu, which is the language that I speak.
Mhm.
And so it's just supposed to be a comedic piece. like kind of like sarcastic and witty, like
Mhm.
towards this white director,
Yeah,
which you'll see in the monologue.
awesome. Enjoy, everyone.
तो आप लोग ने बोला कि कुछ उर्दू में रिकॉर्ड करो, लेकिन आप लोग को उर्दू समझ में आती नहीं है, तो मैं कुछ भी कह सकती हूँ। चलो मैं एक कहानी से शुरू करती हूँ। एक चूंटी हाथी से पूछती है कि तुम्हारी चड्डी इस्तेमाल कर सकती हूँ। हाथी पूछता है क्यों? चूंटी बोलती है कि असल में मेरी बहन की शादी है और टेंट की ज़रूरत है, तो तुम्हारी चड्डी इस्तेमाल कर सकती हूँ। अब मुझे दिखाना होगा कि भी कुछ सीरियस हुआ है। मैं कुछ सब्ज़ी के नाम ले लेती हूँ। मूली, गाजर, गोभी, बैगन, जिसको ख़त्म कर लेते हैं तो एक गाना ही हो जाए। खाई के पान बनारस वाला खुल जाए, बंद कल का ताला।
Welcome back, everyone. Now, Areej, how can our followers and viewers keep up with all your work and the beautiful work that is to come in the future for you?
Sure, sure. So most of my accounts are private, I will say that. But I do like I'm open to having conversations with fellow like artists and like collabing with people because that's like so fantastic.
Yeah.
Especially in this digital world,
Mhm.
where you're just like meeting people over a screen, but you're like producing work together. That's like awesome.
Mhm.
So I have my Instagram page, which is like Areej Shafique,
I
and
love it.
then my doodle page, which is like which I haven't touched in like 2 years, but that's public and open, which is Shafique Doodles, and then you can find me on like Facebook, which is Areej Shafique. I will accept all of you non-creepy people out there in the world, and fellow artists.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today for another great episode of Power Street Spotlight. And make sure you check out next month for the next artist that we're going to feature.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.